Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching Knives Out, starring Daniel Craig, Jamie Lee Curtis, Christopher Plummer, Frank Oz, Chris Evans, and a huge all-star cast, and directed by Rian Johnson, the same guy who gave us Star Wars The Last Jedi, and Looper. Now, when it comes to old classic murder mysteries, we actually haven't gotten a lot of those in the modern era. Probably the most recent one that I can think of was definitely Murder on the Orient Express. But this not only has a subversive take on the murder mystery tropes that we all know and love, but it does it in a way that really happens to play with audiences' expectations in a really good way, and it happens to make the most of its cast while also keeping you on your toes through the whole time. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is that the patriarch of a rich family ends up dying, and a police detective, played by Daniel Craig, alongside a few other police officers, have to find out who ended up killing the patriarch of the family, who has the best motive, who ended up doing it in a more convincing way, and also what the patriarch's will has to do with it. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything else about the story, considering all the twists and turns of this murder mystery are best experienced on your own, as the best murder mysteries often are. But the way the story is told really happens to ultimately surprise practically anyone who's watching it. Not only does every single little detail come into play, from the obvious to the not so obvious, but if you rewind the film and watch it scene by scene, all of it really adds up. I couldn't really find a plot hole to be found when it came to this murder mystery, and none of the scenes really feel like they're wasted. Almost every single scene has some sort of reference, either obvious or subtle, to the mystery at hand, and you get to piece it together bit by bit to the point where even 10 to 15 minutes before the big dramatic reveal, I was sort of getting who was ultimately going to be the one behind it, and I also got a little bit of how they did it. Not only just the who done it, but the why done it and the how done it, so to speak. Let's just say that these case files made me as an audience member feel a bit like a Sherlock Holmes myself, or maybe Lord El Malloy for Fate fans. But that also means that the cast is on game here. Daniel Craig does a great job, and with his thick southern drawl and quirky mannerisms, he makes for a great detective character, sort of like a modern-day Sherlock Holmes, only done with a James Bond actor. Chris Evans is also great, playing against type, being a total jerk, trust fund baby, who really gets to have his humor not only come from everything that he says, but the fact that I so closely associate him with Captain America. So it's hilarious hearing him curse and say these horrible things so often. And the rest of the family members fulfill their roles too, ranging from the seemingly likable ones who end up revealing different sides to them later on, to the already horrible people who are just there to make humorous comic relief statements from time to time, and who just show how messed up the family really can be. The cinematography is also great. It always knows what things to focus on, what things to let the audience in on, and which things to hide, and it ultimately all comes full circle near the end when all the deductions are made, and when you can tell how all the deductions were made, whether they were obvious or not. So, with a strong cast, great direction, a ton of interesting choices in the plot, and a bunch of characters you won't soon forget, Knives Out is not only one of the best murder mysteries that I've seen in a long time, it's, I think, one of the best films of the entire year. So I'll give Knives Out a 9.5 out of 10. See you next time.